Now, our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a native of Paris who began music studies in France. He went on to study music in the United States and expanded his studies to orchestral conducting, taking up graduate studies and attending master's classes with some of the best mentors in the US. He obtained his master's degree in conducting from the University of Southern California, and in 2009, he began his doctoral studies in orchestral conducting in the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music under Mark Gibson.
He's a flutist and a bassist. Olivier Ochanin earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Kentucky. He was also served as an auxiliary bassist for the Lexington Philharmonic Orchestra. Since 2010, Mr. Ochanin has been the musical director and principal conductor of the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra, the nation's leading orchestra. Under his leadership, the orchestra has performed numerous Philippine premieres. Mr. Ochanin's extension with his orchestra takes him to the year 2016.
In the Philippines, Mr. Ochanin is an active clinician leading chamber music master classes at schools. He has also led conducting master classes for the Cultural Center of the Philippines. As part of his outreach mission, Mr. Ochanin serves as interim resident conductor for the Orchestra of the Filipino Youth, a program geared towards talented youth that stem from severely unfortunate financial backgrounds. Soloists with whom Mr. Ochanin has appeared with include Stephen Dibner, Sofia Guliak, Albert Tu, Viviana Guzman, Odin Ratnam, and Kurt Muroki. Aside from the Philippines, Mr. Ochanin is a regular guest conductor with the Sichuan Philharmonic Orchestra in Chengdu, China, and his upcoming international appearances include guest conducting performances in Europe, China, and Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ochanin himself. Hello, Maestro Olivier.
Hi, how are you?
Good to have you, and we're excited. I know later on we'll be joined by another maestro too, but we're looking forward to learning from you today. Now, let's call in our next guest. She was a Merit Science Scholar of the Department of Science and Technology when she graduated valedictorian from the Philippine Science High School. She then received an academic scholarship from the Ateneo de Manila University, and in 2005, she graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor's degree in physics. In 2006, she entered a master's level program in high energy physics at the Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy. It was during that time that she regained her interest in cosmology and astrophysics and applied to graduate schools in the US. And you know what? She chose a little-known school named Princeton, where she graduated and she subsequently earned her doctorate. For her research on obscured quasars, Rana was awarded the Chambliss Astronomy Achievement Student Award by the American Astronomical Society during their 211th meeting in 2007. In 2010, she led a team of Princeton, or at Princeton, that proved Einstein's theory of relativity at a cosmic scale, and her findings also supported the existence of dark energy, a force once only imagined by scientists.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help us to welcome Dr. Reynabel Reyes.
Dr. Reynabel, we cannot wait to pick your brains. That is very interesting.
She's someone I would love to sit next to in science class. Can I borrow your notes?
Wow, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our final guest at this forum on thought leadership is a national treasure. Cecil Buencamino Licad was born in Manila to Rosario Buencamino and Dr. Jesus Licad. She began her piano studies at the age of 3 from her mother, and by the age of 7, she made her debut as a soloist with the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. She won international recognition as one of the youngest musicians to ever receive the prestigious Leventritt competition gold medal, and in 1981, the award launched her international career performing with major orchestras in the world. Her recording of Chopin's Piano Concerto No. 2 and Saint-Saëns Piano Concerto No. 2 with André Prévin conducting the London Philharmonic was awarded the Grand Prix du Disque Frédéric Chopin in 1985 in the Piano and Orchestra Works category by the Frédéric Chopin Society, Warsaw, Poland.
She has appeared with orchestras such as the Chicago Symphony, Boston Symphony, Philadelphia Orchestra, New York Philharmonic, National Symphony Orchestra, Children's Orchestra, and the orchestras of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Phoenix, and Vancouver. I don't think she missed much of North America. Cecil has appeared on television with Mstislav Rostropovich and has performed with ensembles such as the New York Chamber Symphony, St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, Guarneri Quartet, Takash Quartet, the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, and music from Marlborough. In March of 2007, she had a special performance together with her then 19-year-old Otavio L. Meneses as a pianist.
That is her son, and they performed together at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cecil Lica.
Welcome. We have a
apart from
diverse
talking to you,
group here.
I know. Apart from talking to Miss Cecile, we have the opportunity also to, of course, hear all of their performances later on. But for now, we have to once again try to get out what they do, how they've achieved excellence in their chosen paths. But first, let's talk to Dr. Reyna over here. Okay, you have to tell us more about what it all means. I mean, how do you prove Einstein's theory of relativity at a cosmic scale? Isn't it already? And of course, you have to tell us about dark energy apart from what we read in the newspapers.
Good
Tell
question.
us more
Yeah.
about what you've discovered and what it's all about.
Right. The reason we can do it is because we have this big galaxy surveys. So we actually observe the galaxies in the sky. Essentially, it's like taking a camera, big camera, and pointing it at the sky and scanning the sky for a long time, over periods of time. And we have 1 million galaxies. And by measuring how fast they move and their shapes, we can test if Einstein's theory of gravity, the general relativity theory, holds in those large scales. The thing is, that hasn't been done before. We know that Einstein's theory works very, very well here in the solar system, but for the galaxies outside, there's the possibility that it doesn't hold. And we've done the first measurement that we can compare with the prediction of Einstein's theory, and we found that it is consistent. We found that the answer we got from looking at the skies is the same as the one that Einstein predicted 100 years ago. And that's what we can do now with
Question, were you the one who led that team?
Yeah, this was part of my PhD project, right?
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. That's amazing. Now, again, we're talking about a lot higher level than Biology 101. How did you get into astrophysics? I mean, how did you get all the way up there?
I was really interested in science even as a young age, at a young age. So I tell this story, I asked my dad to buy a telescope, and we actually used it to look at the moon, which you can see a lot. But I went then to Philippine Science High School, and then I pursued physics in college. By the time I knew that I wanted to become a scientist, and then these opportunities came up. I went to Italy for further studies, and then eventually to the US for my PhD. So I think, yeah, it was just, grabbing the opportunities that came.
Wow, I'm so encouraged because if I could just share, we together have a 9-year-old And he wants to also be a scientist one of these days,
Meteorologist
a
as well.
meteorologist today.
At age 9.
Yes, at the age of 9. But I'm sure you got a lot of, obviously you got a lot of encouragement from your parents.
Yes,
But even up to this point in your career that you've already achieved so much, what keeps you going? I mean, what is your motivation every single day? Is it to prove a new kind of theory out there and discover something new?
Sure, sure. You'd never run out of questions. So, for example, this measurement that we did is just the first measurement. And it's, in fact, not, I mean, the precision is not that high. But the idea is with the bigger surveys that's upcoming, you can repeat this measurement at a higher, and get a higher precision, make the test more stringent, and also you can do it now at different, say, ages of the universe. If you can look farther out. So there's always something more to do, and that's how science is. So we never run out of questions. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm sure for our younger crowd and even for all the executives here, I guess the main message there is stay curious and stay hungry for knowledge, right? Thank you. Now, Vince, let's talk to Miss Cecile.
Okay, Ma'am. We know that you're always, very renowned for your passion with the way you invest in your time and your energy in your piano playing. Question, are you totally lost in the music? Or when you're playing, is there a lot of thoughts going through your head? Or, what's your state of mind when you're behind the piano?
I think not much. I just make, I kind of experiment with the sound I hear, like while I'm doing it. So it's very interesting what she talks about. It's just, there's so much similarities. For me, it's the innovation and, here in the Philippines I play in different pianos and I just experiment while I play. And, I don't try to feel, things just for the sake of feeling it. I feel it, whatever comes. If it's too cold, I feel the free, the theater, and then I put it in my playing. And I'm actually always have some fear, and I have to live with it. I've lived with it since I was 5 years old.
So you're actually a little bit afraid whenever you get behind the piano?
Not afraid. I kind of like, it's part of what I do. So I kind of live with its fear, and I turn it into a positive, I guess, sometimes.
So with that fear, it's sort of like leaving no stone unturned, and you sort of, experiment a little bit, trial and error, what works for you? Is that how it works?
But I'm kind of, I have this fear, but it's not a fear that I can't play. It's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Demanding from yourself the best and maybe going beyond that and pushing yourself even more.
Yeah, but sometimes it's so unexpected. I never know. I mean, I always try to achieve the best, but when the time comes, you never know. Shit happens.
Yes.
Beep.
Those things happen all the time. Sometimes you step on it. But moving on, Ms. Cecile, we all know that you have given so much pride to our country, representing us through the excellent work that you do on the world stage. Do you still have dreams of being more than what you've already achieved, which is already awesome by our standards, by so many people's standards?
I never think like that. I just live by the day, and my day always feels like it's the last day that I'm leaving, so I try to do the best I can.
I like that. Live it like today means everything.
Yeah,
right?
I put my heart and soul to what I do, and that's it.
A lot of people will be learning from you definitely today. Now let's go to Olivier.
Okay, Olivier, question. Why the Philippines when it seems you might flourish just as well anywhere in the world? Why do you choose?
Why not the Philippines?
Good answer.
It's there's a perception that the Philippines is not on a par musically or in many other ways than countries that call themselves first world or whatever. And that's something that I want to change, that I don't want to change myself, but I want people to understand the Philippines has so much to offer. So I'm actually very lucky to be here. I've been asked that question so many times, and it surprises me every time. And I understand where you're coming from, but there's so much that this country has to offer. And actually, I've learned more in this country than I've learned in all the other countries that I've lived in about how to be human, how to appreciate, and how to love. So.
That's fantastic. You know, if I may interject, I was also asked a lot of the same question. Why are you here? You could be doing something somewhere else, but you know, the Philippines has grown on all of us, and we all love our home country, and we want to, you know, help it in any way we can. And if it's competing on the world stage or bringing the best musical or whatever field we have chosen to that stage, then so be it. We applaud you, sir.
Now, I wanted to ask, still with Olivier here, since you're already basically touching up on excellence. A lot of our students here heard what our panelists here on my right have to say about excellence. What to you is excellence in the context of your profession?
In the context of my profession, I think, and I'm lucky, I think, being in this profession, because working on excelling in this profession, you learn a lot about how to excel in life. Very simply put, I think excellence in conducting is learning how to, when to lead and when to let go, which is something that we have to learn in all facets of life, in relationships and in other jobs, in many fields, in all fields, I'm sure. But in conducting, you have to learn when you're needed and when you have to put trust into the people that you work with. And so as you will see if you're here later on, there's an orchestra set up here with 70, sometimes 100 musicians. And you know, excellence obviously has to deal with the obvious, which is you have to learn your craft. You have to always push yourself so that you don't ever get satisfied that you are where you should be. You always have to, and as you were saying, stay curious. But specifically, I think you also have to, it's very important to empower the people that you work with. And how do you do that? You put trust in them. So for me, the excellence is trying to find the balance, and I will spend the rest of my life working on that. And you go to different orchestras, you go to different countries, and you learn that with different cultures, that balance is different. And so I find that challenge fascinating.
That's great.